Whoa, look at this one. Holy hell. Oh my God.
What is that?
Dude, they got dinosaurs trying to get out of here.
Right?
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping back in. Okay, this video is going to be all about shopping for shipping containers, what to look for, what type of container you need for your build. We're going to walk through what containers we're looking for our build, for the Nook. If you don't know what the Nook is, we've done some other videos on this channel about the Nook. We are building a 3-container home in the mountains of Colorado, and we're going to do start to finish a whole video series on the whole thing. So make sure you guys, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of that. There's a little gray bell right next to the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that so you get notified of when the next video goes up, so you can follow along in our process and see how this Nook is going to, as we call it, going to come together. It's going to be so cool. I'm super excited. And like I just mentioned, this video is about us going out to the shipping container yard to find 3 containers that are going to work for us. And I'm going to walk you guys through what I looked for, what you should be looking for as far as containers. You've got the choices of brand new ones, you've got one trip, you've got used containers. So you're going to see the difference of all 3 of those and which ones we chose. So hopefully this is going to help you guys if you're starting to shop for a container or you have no idea where to start. Make sure you watch this video start to finish. And if you like the video at the end, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, like the video. That helps other people see the video for their shipping container needs as well. Also want to do a quick shout out to Brecky Storage. They're the guys that hooked us up with the containers. They did a great job. Love those people out there, and hopefully we'll do some more shopping with them in the future. All right, so without further ado, let's step on out to the shipping container yard and let's see what we can find.
All right, guys. So first things first, you need to make sure you have a plan in place before you go out and start shopping for these containers. Meaning, 1, you have at least a concept design completed, knowing how many containers you're going to use, which walls and maybe even doors are being removed, and you have an established budget. So you know what you're looking for. Can you afford to go with completely brand new containers? Are you going to be jumping into one-use containers, or even, as you see in some of these are actually used containers that have been out and back many times and across the world many times in some respects. So you need to understand what you're looking for in these containers, because some of these containers may be really beat up on some walls or even the doors, but it may not matter if you're not using that particular wall or that particular door setup, because you're removing that. So in that respect, as you're looking at these boxes, you can then decide, well, that box is pretty beat up here and here, but it doesn't matter because I'm removing those walls. And you have to be able to kind of conceptualize how the boxes are going together based on your plan, so you understand what walls can be removed. So you understand if you're looking at a door and you're not going to use it, it doesn't matter. Or if you're looking at a certain wall and it's going against another container that's keeping the wall, you can go ahead and cut that out, and therefore this container will work for you because this certain section of the container is going to be removed per your plans. All right, that being said, walk the yard, look at all containers. Don't fall in love with something right away. Inspect all ends of each container. A lot of times in these yards, as you can see here, most of the containers are stacked just like they would be in a shipping yard. And so you're going to have containers sandwiched together. You won't be able to inspect the exterior of a lot of walls or sometimes even the doors. And there's got to be tricks to some of the inspection as you walk through it. Determine how much work needs to be done. As you can see here with some of these containers, is it worth your time or money to grab containers that are much less expensive, but then to put a bunch of work into prepping it, sanding it, repairing, re-waterproofing some of the stuff, as opposed to just going ahead and getting a one-trip container or even possibly a new one. Some of the stuff you can do with the containers that are stacked together are walking into the interior of the containers. Now, you want to see the interior of the containers anyway, but this will help you get an idea of some of the exterior wall condition by walking through the interior of the container if that particular container is sandwiched between a bunch of other boxes. That way you can get a really good idea, at least, of what the possible condition on the outside of the containers are. We'll paint them.
Now these 3 at the back are double doors.
Okay.
So they'll have doors on both ends.
Both ends.
So this one and then the 2 right there.
So what's the price on the double door ones? Because that's a possibility for our build, actually. Do you know if they're...
Those are at a special right now. I can do those for $9,300 a piece.
Okay. These are all the brand new ones. Yeah.
We need to look at
And then used and one trip. You guys got different prices for both?
That's new or one trip is one and the same.
Gotcha. Okay.
These.
those 3.
What is that? 186. I need to check that one.
This one right here?
This one and the upper one.
Yeah.
They're 7,000.
7,000.
Okay. Okay, as you heard there, it is super important as well to ask as many questions as possible. Now, we're novices with the container build process as well, so I wanted to know everything there is, the ins and outs of pricing, where they're storing all the different containers, how the yard is organized, double versus single. We're looking at high cubes, which are 9.5 feet tall as opposed to the 8-foot standards. So every question you can think of, don't be afraid to ask. It is super, super important that you get your questions asked as if you're buying anything else that you've done in the past, cars, houses, whatever. Make sure you get your questions asked so you can make an informed decision.
Because the 5800, I'm going to assume, is going to be the used single
door.
It's all these. Every one of these right here. These 3 rows.
Or is 5800.
Yep.
So even if it's double door or single door.
There's no double door.
Oh, they're
used.
not. They're just facing this way.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
One way or the
I have one standard height used double door,
Yeah.
and it's 5,900, and it was a rental box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They cut an AC unit in the side, so we got to weld that. But they put insulation in the
Yeah.
whole thing,
Yeah.
that hard foam
Right.
4x8 sheets,
Yep.
and they screwed holes, self tappers through
All the way
metal.
through.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend a lifetime having
Patching all that up. Yeah.
Yep. Keeping those.
Also remember, in walking the yard, inspect, as I said before, every aspect of containers. Look for as many possible that could work for you, and look at every point you can see there. On the inside of the containers, also walk your floor plan. If you have a tape measure, bring it with you. Get an idea of space.
This is like my biggest fear is that he just locks us in. It's like,
Only when I have to make a sale.
I'll let you out if you agree.
I'm just going to throw this out here. Look at the floor.
I know.
These are K-lines. Is the manufacturer.
Then this is where we're cutting the door out. So
Right.
we don't want to do it on, unless we want to. Unless it'd be easier. I mean, you look at that and just say, let's just remove a door and then we'll frame it in.
Mm-hmm.
Would that, or
I've
would it be
seen
better
it done that way.
Or would it be better to cut out? Like, if I'm washing dishes, do we want that to be where the floor to ceiling window is, the fireplace, and then a front door? Or do we want it to be, I'm doing dishes like this, right? And this is cabinetry and everything, and we have to cut out the window and the door over there.
Right.
The bedroom wall is going to be the single container that we don't open up.
Right.
So
When you've identified your boxes, take pictures of the numbers and write them down. And once you've done all of that, don't be afraid to continue walking the yard if you've identified boxes before you completed looking at things, or even if you walk the entire yard, don't be afraid to circle back one more time and make sure you haven't missed anything. This is going to give you a nice, this is what I want to see, right? This is starting to give you an idea of the outside,
I think,
what we're working with on that one.
yeah, this one's pretty rough. So I'm glad to shove the fuck in here.
All right, so kind of in summary, when you're looking for them, you've got new, you've got one trip, and you've got used. Used has been, they've seen a lot. They've seen a lot of harsh days on the oceans and everywhere else. You know, stuff like this where it's completely kicked out. They've been dropped off of cranes even. So you have to start considering, I know you may be cutting some of this stuff out at the same time. If you've got integrity that's starting to, you know, show weakness, like this one's got C-channel at the top where the actual beam comes across that supports the load at the corners of these containers that's been compromised, then you're going to want to step away from those because there's no point in using them, right? But long story short, you know, think about what you're building, and as you're putting them together, what walls may be coming out, you know, sections of wall may be coming out as opposed to stuff you're trying to save or incorporate into the build. You kind of have to back it out based on what you designed, and then pick the containers that will work the best for each piece of that build, which is what we're trying to do. You know, some of these walls are beat up and ugly, but at the same time, we're going to cut an entire wall out on one side of each of the 2 containers. So we don't really care about 2 of those walls. And that helps us in deciding which used containers we can pick out for 2 of the 3 that we're going to use for this build. You know, the third one has to be almost completely intact, so we have to have something that's in a, you know, much better condition. What's banging into these doors, do you think? Vehicles?
Oh, dude,
Just a lot of
what the hell?
frozen foods? I mean, look at that.
That is a lot of weight.
That's not gonna be justice on the GoPro, unfortunately,
King
but
Kong?
that actually is
Oh my God, look at the outside.
convex. These doors are like this. But if you're cutting them off, does it make a difference? Now,
This feels like it dropped off of a...
that's got convex on it too. See, you know, see how it's kicked out here? And again, that's the GoPro's messing that up too, but it is actually kicked out.
King Kong.
I mean, that's all bowed out. Like that. That ain't no good. That's insane. Is that even... I mean, can you see up here where this is kicked in? That's the actual C-channel on top of the container.
That looks like something was dropped.
I think structurally this one might be toast.